But there's more bad news out of the lakes of Bengaluru. This time it is the Ulsoor Lake in the center of the city where masses of dead fish are being seen. The reason for their deaths not known. Maya Sharma reports.
On the edge of Ulsoor Lake in the middle of Bengaluru, the miserable sight meeting our eyes here, dead fish floating in the lake. Thousands of small fish, bigger fish as well, mysteriously found dead this morning in this lake, which is actually meant to be one of the cleaner lakes of Bengaluru.
I am not surprised, man. This was bound to happen. In fact, in the past 2 years, we have been trying to convey to the authorities that a situation like this is going to come. The entire lake is going to become black because the sewage is mixing with the lake.
The maintenance of the lake has been very poor until now. The water is not purified completely. The contamination has become too much. As you know, the festival, whatever festival happens, entire idol demolition, everything happens over here.
Pollution Control Board officials visited the spot and tested the water as a cleanup began.
We have taken the sample and the pH level is within the normal limits. And I think by another 72 hours, we will be able to get the results of the all the required parameters and will come to conclusion.
But once again, Bengaluru's lakes had made national news for all the wrong reasons.
I have gone to Bengaluru for 2 times and held meetings with all concerned authorities and officials. It includes Special Lake Development Authority, plus state government, plus municipal corporation, and various other organizations responsible for maintenance of lakes. So they gave me timetable. We are monitoring it.
We've had lakes in Bengaluru with flames on them, with foam on them. Now this lake in the heart of Bengaluru city with dead fish dying by the thousands. Certainly the news out of Bengaluru's lakes has not been good for quite a while now. With Alphonse Raj, Maya Sharma at Ulsoor Lake in Bengaluru for NDTV.
And joining us for more is Harish Bijur, member of Bangalore's Political Action Committee or BPAC, Dinesh Gundu Rao, spokesperson for the Congress, and Anand Arya continues to be with us from our first discussion. Harish Bijur, I think the rest of the country is absolutely horrified by these pictures. Thousands upon thousands of dead fish floating on the surface of Ulsoor Lake. But for Bangalore's residents, this may not come as a very big surprise. Why is that?
No, it doesn't come as a big surprise because it keeps happening. In fact, our water bodies are getting polluted dramatically, and, drainage is actually seeping into these bodies. And the oxygen deficiency is a syndrome which happens literally every alternate year. But these are signals which we have to watch out for, and we have to be really, really paranoid about this, because today it's the fish. I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow.
Mr. Dinesh Gundu Rao, comment on this, because, this is something that we keep seeing. Bengaluru's lakes seem to be in some sort of crisis, as really is the infrastructure of most of the cities. Lakes with foam on them from effluents, lakes that have started flaming because of the gases that are being generated, and now fish dying in the thousands. What is going on? Why is this not a bigger priority politically?
No, it is definitely a huge priority for us to see that the lakes are rejuvenated, and I think the biggest challenge is to see that all the sewage that is generated gets treated, and the water which is going into the lakes, they get clean water. In fact, as of now, Bangalore generates about 1,300 MLD of sewage water, and that in that 1,300 MLD, right now we're able to just treat about 650 MLD of sewage is being treated. So the remaining sewage is not being treated. Within December, I think another 300 MLD of sewage treatment plants are coming up. So that will be done. And in the next 2 years, Cabinet is going to approve, I think the next Cabinet decision we will be taking. 1,600 crore project is being implemented. So within the next 2 years, we will be having all the sewage in Bangalore, which is going to be treated, and we will be covering the entire city. So that's what we have done in terms of putting in money into all these things to see that mainly the water which goes into the lakes has to be clean. So that's the biggest challenge to see that the lakes get revived. And Ulsoor Lake, unfortunately, yes, I think we are waiting for the results of why it has happened, because Ulsoor Lake does not receive so much of sewage water into the lake. A portion of it, there is a bund which has been created where the dirty water is stored, but there has been some leakage in that, and I think maybe some of that has also seeped into the main part of the lake. and also due to the rise in temperatures and the deficiency of oxygen in the water may have also caused this problem. And the fisheries department, which is using the lake for for breeding fish there, I think most of the fish that is being breeded by the fisheries department have survived. It's I think the lake fish which originally exists, I think most of them have actually died in this.
Without going into the technicalities of it, can I just say that for us, just seeing those visuals of hundreds of thousands of fish floating up on the surface of the lake, they're just horrifying. I have no words. Anand Arya, we keep hearing politicians pay lip service to this. Who knows whether any of these measures that have just been outlined by Mr. Gundu Rao will in fact work out. Today we actually heard the Environment Minister announcing an effluent and emission monitoring system by which highly polluting industries will now be monitored in real time. And when pollution levels or effluent levels spike, apparently SMS alerts will go out to the control, to the particular pollution control board as well as the Environment Ministry. Now, it's all very well to hear about these, but what's going to change?
Nothing is going to change unless and until what Mr. Javadekar has said is actually done. You see, the people like us raise our voice only because the state and the state agencies do not do their legal and constitutional responsibilities. And now what we are seeing, let's say case of Yamuna, even a judicial order is not being respected.
Right.
Now, so unless and until the state governments as well as the central government become conscious of their legal and statutory duties and discharge them with a degree of honesty, we are not going to get it. Now, I tell you, the lake thing disturbs me tremendously because it is just one which you are seeing because it happens to be right in the middle of
the city,
middle of the Bangalore city. But imagine the number of wetlands that we have lost in this country. Within 50 kilometers from where we are sitting at this point of time, we have lost one of the most beautiful birding areas and a wetland known as Dadri wetlands.
Right.
Now, because I lost that, unfortunately, I lost Okhla as well, in a way, practically, not physically, but practically. I am quite determined to see that the wetlands are saved, and that is where, now tell me, why did I go to the NGT again for an order that the notification which was issued in 2010 is for wetlands is acted upon.
Right, fair point. But let's bring this back to Bangalore and Harish Bijur, those visuals, as we keep saying, are just so horrendously disturbing that it's hard to go past them. But do you have any hopes of this effluent monitoring system that is being discussed by the Environment Minister today, or is this once again something that will be talked about, it will be a flash in the pan, and then really no real difference will be felt on the ground?
I'm really hopeful about this because, it's extremely important to appreciate that, some tasks are too important to be left to the government alone. I think we need shadow bodies. So each one of our lakes has got a system, where people adopt lakes. We have the Puttanhalli lake warriors who have done beautiful jobs around Bengaluru. Right. Of course, many of our lakes have gotten encroached upon. That's the disaster. But I think this is too important a task to be left alone to the government, and I think we're going to have shadow bodies which are going to remind the government all the time that, hey guys, you promised this, give us this.
But Dinesh Gundu Rao, do you believe that, legal and statutory guidelines are really being looked at with the degree of care that they merit? Are environmental laws and guidelines being enforced in the way that they ought to? Why are we seeing repeated instances of absolute, no care at all for the environment, where lakes in the middle of a city are being turned into dumping grounds? Are these signs of a larger malaise, a larger environmental meltdown that we're seeing in our cities?
Yeah, I would like to agree with Harish that yes, just governments cannot look after all these things. They require, citizens' participation and involvement in all this. And I think that is happening in Bangalore right now. There are many lakes where, citizens have come forward and are contributing to protect those lakes. And today government also is putting in the money where it is required. Like I said earlier, we are putting in money into building new STPs, and in the next 2.5 years, we'll be covering the entire sewage in Bangalore. And also we've come out with new rules now. In fact, earlier we used to have apartments with more than 100 apartments in a building had to have a compulsory STP. But unfortunately, many of the STPs were not even functioning. They had an STP, but were not functioning. So today we are looking at each and every STP and making sure that all of them function in those apartment complexes. And the new rule that we made now is any building with more than 20 apartments has to have its own STP, treatment plant, and reuse the water which they are also treating in that particular STP. So yes, we have the rules and we are committed to this. And definitely you will see that many of the lakes are getting rejuvenated in Bangalore right now. And things are improving.
At these pictures, I would have to say the citizens of Bengaluru and indeed the rest of India would be most disheartened. It's great to hear that all of this is being considered, but what has changed?
No, definitely, like I said earlier, within this year itself, we are going to be treating another 330 MLD of sewage plants. Within this year, it's going to be completed. And another 1,600 crores we are committing from our own government fund, not even central government, it's our own state government funds that we are generating. So, we are committed to this, and I think if you give us the...
As someone who's sort of been part of a citizens' movement to revive Bengaluru and perhaps bring better civic amenities to the city, what would you like to see being done on a war footing?
My parting word is this, that, hey, listen, a lake which is catching fire, a river, Rishabhavati, which is actually forming, dead fish on lakes, these are all warning signs of a future. And I think we need to be very, very careful. We need to be paranoid. We need to be concerned. We need to say that this is a very important issue. Air pollution is yet another big one in Bengaluru. In fact, the Air Force colony at Murugeshpalya in Bengaluru daily burns garbage and dry leaves. And nobody is waking up to this kind of a situation. So the air quality in Bangalore is the next big one. Are we going to have people dying next? Are we going to have people with asthmatic issues actually coming to the fore and saying that we can't do anything?
All right. Well, grim words to end this program on. But thanks very much indeed, Dinesh Gundu Rao, Harish Bijur and Anand Arya for joining us on this discussion. All we can say is that we hope our politicians, our governments and indeed our change makers get something right, because Bengaluru needs help and needs help very soon.